All right, so now looking at how do we create our confidence for a population proportion. Similar to what we've seen before, we have our p hat plus or minus our margin of error. And we are defined here with our margin of error. All right, so E is defined as this formula here, our critical point with p hat and n. Right? And then we add and subtract that value to get our values there. Now, a couple important things. We have to make sure that our n times p hat is greater than 5 and our n times q hat is greater than or equal to 5, because we need to assume the estimation process is repeated a large number of times. And so with that, we kind of have our steps here. Step 1, right, we want to identify our sample statistics, n and x. 2, then we want to find our point estimate using our formula, p hat equals x over n. 3, we'll verify that it can be approximately a normal distribution, checking that both values there are greater than or equal to 5. Then we want to find our critical value, our z sub c, which we'll use Staplet for. 5, we find our margin of error using our formula. And then last, we create our endpoints based on the formula. So let's take a look at an example here. All right, so in a survey using our similar data, 1,550 US adults, 1,054 said they used social media website Facebook, construct a 95% confidence interval for the population proportion of US adults who use Facebook. Interpret the results with a sentence. So let's go and lay out the information that we know. So step 1, so n is 1,550, x is 1,054, 2, we want to find p hat, x over n, which we already previously found to be 0.68. 3, we want to verify n p hat is greater than 5 and n q hat is greater than or equal to 5. So that is greater than 5, so that checks. And remember, q hat is 1 minus p hat. So then we have 1,550 times 0.32, which is, and that checks as well. So step 4, find z, c, or z alpha 2. We have a confidence interval of 95%, so we'll go to Staplet for that. And so that gives us a 1.96. And then 5, we want to find E, which comes from our equation. So substituting our known values in, 1.96 square root of 0.68 times 0.32 over 1550. And that gives us an E of 0.023. And then last, we have p hat minus e is less than p, which is less than p hat plus e. And so 0.68 minus 0.023, 0.68 plus 0.023 gives us a final of 0.657 is less than p, which is less than 0.703. Okay, and then to interpret that, all right, here's our interpretation. So with a 95% confidence and a sample of 1,550, the population proportion of US adults who use Facebook is between 65.7% and 70.3%. All right, so go ahead and try number 3 on your own here. Pause this and work through this problem. All right, so as we look here, there's the fully worked out problem. You can check your work and then I'll explain through here. All right, so we're given that n is 800. Our x we get from taking, we're looking at television, so 27%. So 0.27 times 800 gives us our x of 216. Applying that to our p hat gives us 0.27. We verify our information, both are greater than 5. We find our critical and becomes 2.576. Substituting all that information into E, we get 0.040, and then we get our confidence interval there by adding, subtracting E to our p hat. And then last, our interpretation with 99% confidence in a sample size of 800 US adults between 18 to 29 years old get their news on TV is between 23 and 31%.